These are the strongest shields in the Twilight universe, and the one who wields the most powerful of them all never trained for war. Bella Swan wasn't born special. She was shy, introspective, and quietly awkward. Her biggest worry used to be passing high school, but in the span of a few short years, she would become the only thing standing between her family and a violent death. Therefore, to understand how Bella Swan went from a quiet teenager in Forks to the mental fortress that repelled the Volturi, we have to start with a question. What does it take to change fate? Bella's story begins with small choices. Choosing to live with her father in Forks, Washington. Choosing to sit next to the mysterious boy with golden eyes. Choosing, again and again, to step closer to a world that could have easily killed her. But then, instead of breaking her, each choice forged her into something unshakable. She wasn't supposed to survive, not the nomad vampires, not James, not Victoria, not childbirth. But she did. Therefore, Bella's transformation wasn't just physical, it was psychological, emotional, mythic. And in the end, she did what no vampire had done before. Shield an entire coven from the psychic assault of the world's most ancient predators. This is the story of how a girl with no powers became the most powerful protector of them all. Bella Swan was born in 1987 in Phoenix, Arizona, a place of sun, heat, and dust. Her parents, Renee and Charlie, divorced when she was young. Therefore, Bella learned to grow up quickly, to parent herself while her quirky, free-spirited mother bounced from place to place. But then, Renee remarried and Bella, never one for the spotlight, made a choice that would set her story in motion. She moved to Forks, Washington, the greyest town in the Olympic Peninsula, a place her mother couldn't stand, but where her father still lived. Forks was a town of mist and silence, but it was also a town hiding the supernatural in plain sight. Therefore, when Bella met Edward Cullen, pale, strange, impossibly fast, she was drawn in not just by his beauty, but by the mystery of what he was. That pull became obsession. That obsession became love. But then came the danger. When James, a sadistic tracker vampire, marked Bella as prey, she was nearly killed in Phoenix, the city of her birth. The irony? She had escaped that desert to avoid drama. Instead, she found her death chasing her. Edward saved her. Barely. And this became the cycle of Bella's life. Drawn to Edward, threatened by his world, saved at the last moment. Until she decided she didn't want saving anymore. Therefore, she asked to become one of them. But Edward refused. He believed her soul would be lost. That eternity came with a price Bella couldn't understand. And so began a war of wills between mortality and immortality. Then came Italy. When Edward mistakenly believed Bella had died, he went to the Volturi, the vampire-ruling elite, to ask for death. Bella stopped him, but not without a cost. The Volturi saw her, a fragile human, and decided she knew too much. She had to be turned, or destroyed. This forced Edward's hand, therefore he agreed, eventually. But it would not happen until Bella graduated, and that delay would nearly cost her life, again. Victoria, seeking revenge for James, returned, but instead of attacking herself, she created an army of newborn vampires, strong, fast, rabid. Bella was the target. Therefore the Cullens and even their enemies, the Quileute werewolves, had to unite to protect her. She survived again. But then came a new conflict, her love for Jacob Black. Jacob, her childhood friend turned werewolf protector, represented another path, one of warmth, humanity, and staying rooted in the world she was born into. Edward represented cold eternity, but also unwavering passion and protection. Bella had to choose. And when she chose Edward, she didn't just pick a person. She picked a fate, a death, a rebirth. She married him. And soon after, she became pregnant with something no vampire had ever seen, a half-human, half-vampire child. The pregnancy was killing her. Therefore, Edward had to make a decision: lose the woman he loved or turn her into a vampire immediately, irrevocably. He turned her, and Bella Swan died. But then, Bella Cullen opened her eyes, her senses sharpened, her strength magnified, and her mind became something else entirely. Where most newborn vampires were feral and uncontrollable, Bella was calm, focused. She didn't hunger blindly. She didn't lash out. Why? Because from the beginning, Bella had always been a creature of restraint, of self-denial. That control, forged in her human years, became her greatest weapon in immortality. Therefore, she noticed things other newborns didn't, like how vampires like Edward, Aero, or Jane used mental powers. But then, she realized something terrifying. Those powers didn't work on her. Edward couldn't read her thoughts. Jane couldn't cause her pain. Alec couldn't silence her senses. Bella was immune. And that's when she understood. Her gift wasn't brute force, it was defense. She had an impenetrable mental shield, but it wasn't just passive. With training from another vampire, Zafrina, she learned to project that shield outward, to protect others. That training wasn't easy. Zafrina, from the Amazon Coven, taught Bella to visualize her shield like a second skin, one she could stretch, bend, and move beyond herself. At first, Bella failed. Her frustration mounted. But then, little by little, she pushed her limits. Each step forward was earned, and throughout it all, her family supported her. Alice offered patience. Rosalie, fierce and often misunderstood, helped care for Renesmee when Bella couldn't. Even Emmett, with his brawny confidence, took Bella seriously, recognizing her power long before she did. Carlyle believed in her, not just as a vampire, but as someone capable of changing how they were perceived. He reminded her that strength doesn't always roar, it sometimes shields. Therefore, when the Volturi came for her daughter, Renesmee, claiming the child was illegal, Bella stood on the front lines. Not to fight, but to shield. She extended her power to protect the minds of her entire coven, to block Jane's pain, Alec's void, and Aro's insight, and that shield, cast over Edward, Alice, Emmett, Carlyle, even the wolves, protected them all from psychic attack. No vampire had ever done that. Not even the Volturi could break her. Bella, who once thought she was ordinary, became their undoing. Her power shifted the balance, not with violence, but with presence, with protection, with quiet defiance. So what do we take away from Bella Swan? That power doesn't always come from aggression. That control, love, and resilience are forces just as dangerous as teeth and venom. Bella never wanted to be a hero, but she chose her path with clarity and courage. And in the end, she became not just immortal, but legendary. A human girl, turned the strongest shield in the world. The last thing you should remember, Bella was never the weapon. She was the armor. And in the Twilight universe, that made her more dangerous than any blade.